Hi, today I've come to Walham Green Wetherspoons, which is the newest site in London. And this was formerly the site of a tube station. So this building was built in 1910 by a very renowned architect called Harry W. Ford, and it's actually grade 2 listed. This building was closed for 20 years. I'll go into the history a little bit later because, as always in London, it's raining, so I don't want to stand out here too long. But let's have a look at this amazing building. Let's go in and try something from the Wetherspoons menu. Okay, so I've now come inside and I've actually come upstairs because it's a bit quieter, because even though it's only about 11 o'clock in the morning, it's absolutely rammed in here. So there's tons of people down having food and lots of people having drinks. It's a Friday, so I guess people finish a bit earlier. Maybe they come for a lunch. There's lots of workmen who maybe started work at 7 a.m. So this place is obviously thriving. And one of the reasons why Wetherspoons wanted this location is because, well, firstly, it's in Fulham, so it's obviously going to be busy anyway, but it is right next door to Chelsea football ground. And that's one of the reasons why Walham Green Station actually closed down. So Walham Green was opened back in 1880. So in the 1880s, and in those days, the district line in London was actually a steam line. So there were steam trains running in and out to London, because most of the district line is over land. So it's not underground, it's overground. So it was running in and out. And then the steam trains were replaced around 1905 with electric trains, and a new entrance was designed to Walham Station. The reason why it was called Walham Green is because that's the name of the district around here. So the parish, the church district, is Walham Green. So it was originally given that name because that's the way a lot of the tube stations in London were named initially. They were named after local districts. However, it was decided in the 1950s that Walham Green wasn't really appropriate, because a lot of people were coming to London looking to go to Chelsea football ground, to the match, and they didn't really know where to go. And Walham Green didn't have any relationship to Chelsea Football Club, so they renamed the station Fulham Broadway. So Walham Green was changed to Fulham Broadway at that point, but the original entrance was kept, and you saw that the signage, Walham Green, is still here. Now, that station operated for a long period of time, but it was decided that it was actually too small. The area down there that's now the pub was basically the ticket hall, and that's where lots of people came through, and they came off the tube when they wanted to go to Chelsea football ground. So it was closed and redeveloped as a new site, a much bigger site, and renamed as Fulham Broadway. So the building lay derelict for around 20 years. And Wetherspoons came in and wanted to develop it as a pub, and they had to spend £3 million renovating that space, because it's grade 2 listed because of the heritage here. It's got the fantastic frontage, but also inside you've seen the ticket hall, lots of different pieces that the English heritage wanted to be kept. So Wetherspoons has a heritage business, and they had to come in and design everything in conjunction with the heritage authorities in the UK to make sure that they were happy that it was keeping its character. It still felt like a station from over 100 years ago, and I think they've done a great job. It actually looks amazing down there. They've still got all of the signage on the wall that says "to the trains." They've got the ticket offices. It's painted in the colours that the railway used to use back in those days. So it's really quite amazing. When you come here, you can feel the heritage, you can feel the history of the place, and it is quite an amazing pub. So and one of the busiest in the Wetherspoons chain already, because obviously on match days this place is absolutely rammed. So I'm sitting upstairs. They built an extra different mezzanine layer up here. You can see the windows just cut out to my side, and the reason for that is just to get more people in here, to get more bodies, because on match day you'll have thousands of people wanting to come for a pre-match pint. So I've come here for the breakfast menu, So you get the usual menu, which is absolutely huge. There's got a breakfast section, but at breakfast time you also get a separate paper version of the breakfast. So I'm using the app, which is really fantastic. You literally just call it up, you put your table number in, which is here, and then place your order, pay on the app, and then wait for everything to arrive. So you don't have to go down to the bar, you don't have to queue up, any of those sort of things. So today I thought I would try something a bit different for breakfast, because I've already had the traditional breakfast, which was very good. That was in another Wetherspoons. And what I'm going for today is something that's actually recommended to me by somebody sending me comments saying that the Eggs Benedict here is really fantastic. So I've ordered Eggs Benedict and a cup of tea. Now, interestingly, Wetherspoons has a policy, a 10-minute order policy. So they've tasked all of their staff with trying to deliver the food to someone's table within 10 minutes of the order being placed. So I placed my order around about 4 or 5 minutes ago. So let's see how it goes in terms of the timing of that delivery. But this place does have a great feel to it. I think in terms of the Wetherspoons chain, it's definitely one of the most expensive, £3 million renovation project. That is right at the top end of what Wetherspoons is looking to pay, and clearly the reason for that is they had to respect all of the heritage here. But it does feel very new and fresh, and it's right next to Fulham Broadway tube station, so really easy to get to if you're travelling around London, and very convenient for commuters if you're wanting to stop off for a pint or just basically have a pint on your way home. Food has just arrived this second, and in terms of timing, placed my order at 11:39 and it was delivered at 12:01, so it was 22 minutes, more than double the 10-minute that they're meant to be delivering in, but it looks pretty good. So this is Eggs Benedict, which the history of Eggs Benedict is interesting. It dates back to the 1890s in New York, when reportedly a hungover Wall Street broker called Lemuel Benedict went into the Waldorf Hotel and ordered toast, bacon, 2 eggs, and a pitcher of hollandaise sauce to try to cure his hangover. And the maitre d' of the hotel loved the combination so much that he decided to make it a dish on the menu. So we replaced the toast with English muffins, which is what we've got here. Replaced the bacon with ham. I've got some Wiltshire ham. I've got 2 poached eggs, hollandaise sauce here, and we got some rocket lettuce. So let me cut into this, because I know a lot of people get annoyed if I'm talking too much and the food goes cold. So let's see what the poached egg is like. So, yep, it's pretty runny. Looks pretty good. I'd say that's a decent poached egg. So let's just have a taste of this. Now, what's great about Eggs Benedict, you get the combination of the muffin, the ham, and the egg. That is incredibly tasty. So, it's such a good combination. If you've never had it, I would certainly recommend trying it sometime, because the English muffin is basically it's got a bit more give to it than normal bread, so it's a bit thicker, but it gives it a sort of nice chewiness and a little bit of texture. You've then got the beautiful runny egg, but the ham I think really does add to it as well, because it gives you, well, firstly extra protein, but it gives you a bit more bite, a bit more flavour. So let me just have a bit more of this, because the combination of that, I've got a bit of rocket lettuce this time. That's such a good combination, because the Wiltshire ham is quite salty. So if you're eating that just standalone, it would taste very salty, but it's a fantastic complement to the richness of the egg and the hollandaise sauce. The hollandaise sauce is basically like a mayonnaise-based sauce. I think it has some vinegar and some of them sort of flavouring in there, but it's such a great combination. These eggs are really good quality. Let me just test the other egg to make sure that it's been cooked as well as the first one. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, that is a nice poached egg. So it's not too runny, it's not pouring out, it's sort of slightly firm, but that's actually the way I like it. So I'm very pleased with that. This rocket lettuce is a great combination as well, because it gives it a little bit of sort of roughage, just a bit more chew. So I have to say, this is a winning combination. This is a very good dish. Oh, I haven't mentioned the plate yet. Let me have a bit more food. I'll talk about the plate. You can really taste the saltiness of that Wiltshire ham. Just provides quite a nice sort of complement to the egg and the bread. But the rocket is really good. Now, these plates, I've discussed them before. I know some people really like these plates. So they're famous, Wetherspoons, for their plates. They tend to be slightly over the top in terms of the colouring. This one's a blue with floral print on it. So not the sort of plates that you'd buy for your own home. If I was having a good dinner party, I probably wouldn't serve anything on these plates. But they're quite famous for it now. I know a lot of people who watch these videos really love these plates because I mentioned it in the first one that I made and said that I wasn't that a big fan, and lots of people have said, what do you mean? They're fantastic. In fact, some people have even taken them home and they're using them at home. The other thing about Wetherspoons that we haven't touched on before is the carpets, because every single carpet is unique to Wetherspoons and they tend to be quite intense patterns. So in this place, we've got sort of swirls on the floor, and it's a combination of green and red, which is from the old railway colours. So they've been, again, with the heritage, they've tied it into the history of this building. But I know every single carpet is different in every Wetherspoon, so people do love to look out for that as well. I have to say, I've been given a really good knife here. It's like a steak knife that they've given me, so it's really useful for cutting through this Eggs Benedict. This portion is absolutely massive. So normally, if I go to a cafe, well, firstly, you usually only get one egg, so 2 eggs I think is pretty generous. But you get 2 muffins, 2 really big pieces of ham. If I take this ham off here, just to show you, it's been sort of folded up, but it's a really, it's a massive piece of ham. So that's been folded sort of 4 times to get it to sit underneath that egg. So there's a lot of food here, and it's really good quality. This ham, I just may have a taste of that ham independently from everything else. You can see it's a genuine cut of ham, so it's not been processed. So sometimes, if you go to the supermarket, you get processed ham. It's very watery. They've added a lot of things to it. This is basically sliced ham, high quality, a little bit salty, but I think that's right for this dish. I think that's what you need from an Eggs Benedict. Very good quality. The rocket lettuce looks great as well. Sometimes you can get lettuce that's a bit tired and a bit limp. The eggs are really good quality. Hollandaise sauce is nice. There's not too much hollandaise sauce, because sometimes if it's swimming in it, that's all you can taste, then it becomes a bit too overpowering. So overall, I am very impressed with this Eggs Benedict. So let me finish this off and I'll see you later for the wrap up. So here I am at the end of the meal outside the Walham Green Wetherspoons. You can see there's a blue plaque just behind me talking about the fact that this used to be the old station. So what was my view of this Wetherspoons? Well, it's one of the newest in the whole of the Wetherspoons chain. So it only opened in July 2025. So it's brand spanking inside. They really have done a fantastic job. As I mentioned, it cost £3 million for Wetherspoons to renovate this building, and because they had to do it to such a high standard. You've seen in the video that they've kept a lot of the original features. So they've got the ticketing area where you used to go and buy your tickets is now part of the bar. So they've got some nice signage there. They've painted it in all of the old colours. It's just a really impressive structure, nice building, as was, as you'd expect from these old Edwardian tube stations. So you can just imagine 100 years ago, commuters coming and going, getting on the steam trains as it was back in those days on the tubes, which is just an incredible thought, really. They were taken out of service the early part of the 20th century, but still amazing that it was steam trains back in those days. And I think Wetherspoons overall do a really good job of bringing these old buildings back into play, because this place was derelict and abandoned for 20 years. It was just, there was nothing here. So Wetherspoons have recreated a bit of history here. And I like the fact that they've used Walham Green as the name. It's sort of a nod to the history of the place. It's, giving it the old name that the station was called. It is in this district. This is what the parish of Walham Green anyway. So what was the food like today? Well, I ordered Eggs Benedict because I wanted to try something different for breakfast. Wetherspoons is renowned for its full English breakfast, and I recently reviewed one of those, and it was really good. But I wanted to go for Eggs Benedict today just to see whether or not it has the diversity to be able to do something like that. As you saw, I had 2 poached eggs, 2 English muffin, 2 really big pieces of Wiltshire ham, good amount of hollandaise sauce, and then a side of rocket on there. That all came as standard, and it tasted absolutely brilliant. So the eggs have been cooked really well. So they were poached just like how I like them, with a little bit runny, but not too much. I don't like it if it's just all pouring out onto the plate. You want it to actually retain some of that yolk so that you can then just have it as you're cutting the egg, rather than it just all disappearing and then soaking into the muffin underneath. So I think it had been cooked really well. It took a little bit longer than the 10 minutes that Wetherspoon are trying to achieve for all of their food deliveries, but I was quite happy with that. And I was also sitting upstairs, so they had to move it from downstairs to upstairs. Sorry, there's a noisy wagon going past me here. Yeah, they had to bring it up on the dumb waiter system to where I was sitting, so I don't have a problem with having to wait 20 minutes for my food. That's fine. With you waiting an hour, then maybe I would have, but 20 minutes is fine. But the eggs were done really well. The quality of the ham was exceptionally good. A little bit salty, but it just worked really well with that dish. English muffins were good. Hollandaise sauce was just right, not too overpowering. The rocket was really fresh and light, and all together, it was a fantastic combination. So I ate every single morsel of it. The quality and the quantity was also really high. So I got a lot of food there. I've eaten all of it. I feel really full now. So it's sort of like a brunch for me. I've had this just before midday, and I don't think I'll be needing to eat anything else until much later in the day now. Okay, so let's talk about the price. I was actually waiting for some of the building work to stop because it got so ridiculously noisy that I thought I'll just have to stop this and start again. So what about the price? Well, the price of the Eggs Benedict was £5.76. That is incredible. That is so cheap. We are in a really premium district of London here. This is Fulham, which is very central, right next to Chelsea football's ground, about 200 metres that way, so about 200 yards away, so right next to the football. Around here, for Eggs Benedict, I would have expected to pay anything between £10 and £15, because that's what you have to pay when you go to the very expensive cafes in this region. £5.76 is ridiculously cheap. If I'm thinking actually of going to the supermarket and making that for myself, I'd have to buy the eggs, I'd have to buy good quality Wiltshire ham, the English muffins, hollandaise sauce. I think I would struggle to make that myself at home for £2.50. So £5.76 is unbelievable when you think you're eating out. It's being made for you, it's a nice environment to eat it in. So from a value for money perspective, it's 10 out of 10. And I have to say, for everything I've had so far at Wetherspoons, it's 10 out of 10 for value for money. In terms of the quality of the food and my overall score, I was really impressed. That was the best Eggs Benedict I've had for a long time. I'm going to give Walham Green for its Eggs Benedict a score of 8 out of 10, which is the highest score that I've given to any Wetherspoons so far. It's actually one of the highest scores I've given on the channel. But I do think it was exceptionally good. It was really tasty. There was a lot of it, really good quality. I'm very impressed. I would definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, come back and have that again here. I'd recommend it to anyone. If you're in this area, if you're coming to a Chelsea match, for example, come early, get the Eggs Benedict, get yourself a seat, go upstairs. It's a bit quieter than in the main hall. Definitely recommend it. So very, very impressed with Walham Green. It's one of the newest, and it's definitely one of the shiniest and one of the best examples of a Wetherspoon. So thank you very much for watching this video all the way through to the end. Please give me a thumbs up if you haven't done so already, and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you, and I will see you again on the next.